What's wrong, TechDweeb?
Oh, I don't know, Pocket Air Mini. I'm just frustrated, I guess.
Oh no, why are you frustrated?
Well, it's just, I make so many videos about tech and handhelds and emulation and retro games, and each one is full of like jokes and skits. And sometimes I feel like if I want to just make a normal video to just like review a handheld in a normal way, that's not going to be enough, you know?
Kind of like you're worried that your audience is expecting you to go all out and do something special in each video.
Exactly. Sometimes I wish I could just do a normal video without a gimmick.
You could try, see how it goes.
Yeah, but then what would happen to me?
What?
What if I'm the gimmick?
I didn't think about that.
I know you didn't.
Hey there, how's it going? I'm the Ayaneo Pocket Air Mini. Welcome. Thanks for clicking on the video today.
Hey, that's my line.
You're not the Pocket Air Mini.
I know, I forget about it. Ayaneo makes some confusing decisions. Sometimes it's confusing specs, sometimes it's the price, sometimes it's the hardware, and sometimes it's the name. And now with the Pocket Air Mini, I'm starting to think that they're trying to gaslight me because this thing is really good and super cheap, which is wild for an Ayaneo handheld. But the weird part is they just launched a budget sub-brand called Conquer. And I just reviewed the Conquer Pocket Fit, which felt more like a regular Ayaneo device. And now Ayaneo drops a real budget device, but it's not a Conquer. If I'm this confused, the general public doesn't stand a chance.
You're easily confused though.
I am. Yes, that's true.
And you smell like grilled cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, thanks for noticing. So to be clear, this is the Ayaneo Pocket Air Mini, the first truly budget Ayaneo device. This thing is just $70, and it is shockingly good for that price. Honestly, that's more confusing than the branding. How they built something this nice for $70 is beyond me. Solid build, new high-res screen, runs Android, handles PSP perfectly, and even some GameCube and PS2. I don't know what kind of voodoo Ayaneo is doing to make this for $70. It's probably some terrible secret that would haunt our nightmares, but hey, if it means cheap handhelds, I'm happy to live in blissful ignorance. This bad boy is rocking the MediaTek G90T chip, which is a chip that we haven't seen on a handheld yet. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. We also get either 2 GB or 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB or 64 GB of storage. The screen is 4.2 inches, 1280 by 960 resolution, and we get Wi-Fi 5, Bluetooth 5.0, a 4500 mAh battery, and it's running Android 11. As usual, Ayaneo is selling this through Indiegogo. Early birds can grab it for $70 to $80, and then it bumps up to $75 to $85 during the campaign, and later it's $90 to $100 retail. It comes in 3 colorways, all black, white and red, and the Retro Power edition. I really wish I got that one. I love the retro power look that Ayaneo does. Actually, even though they sent me this black one, I'm probably gonna buy the retro power version too. This device is so good that I want to have my favorite flavor of it.
But does that mean you'll get rid of me when you get the new one?
Of course not. I have a cozy spot in my junk drawer ready just for you.
Yay!
On the front, we have that 4.2-inch screen, D-pad over here in the upper configuration, face buttons, dual Hall effect sticks with RBG, start and select down here, and an Ayaneo quick settings and Android home button down here. Underneath, we have downward firing stereo speakers, boo, and a headphone hole, yay! And an SD card hole, and a USB-C hole for charging. No video out through that, by the way. Up top, we have bumpers and Hall effect triggers, and L4 and R4 function buttons that can be rebound, and a power button, volume up and down, and a vent hole for airflow. Nothing on the sides. Around back, we have some ergonomic humps to squeeze, and another bunch of holes for airflow.
Hey, are you ogling my vent holes again?
No. So the Ayaneo Pocket Air Mini is the mini version of the Pocket Air, which is Ayaneo's Android version of their PC handheld called the Ayaneo Air. I gotta say, when I heard that Ayaneo was gonna do a new version of the Ayaneo Air, I wasn't really excited. I kind of thought that there would be no possible way that it could be all that good for $70. However, I've never been more wrong in my life.
What about that time you called your teacher mom and everyone laughed at you?
Shh. I told you to keep that between us.
Isn't it just us here now?
No, he's here. Yeah, you told me to come. Quiet, pocket test guy. You'll speak when spoken to. Sorry. Shut up! You're ruining the video!
Why are you so mean to him?
It's tough love. He'll never learn to be a man otherwise. I was actually kind of blown away as soon as I picked this up at how good it felt. I don't know what I was expecting for $70, but not this. It is super high quality feeling. It feels dense and solid with amazing ergonomics and control placement, great feeling controls and materials. The plastic feels nice and the size is kind of perfect, like the perfect middle ground. It's like the Goldilocks handheld. Not too big, not too small, just right. Except this story doesn't end with you getting eaten by a bear. It ends with you playing the Ninja Turtles arcade game for 2 hours past your bedtime. And it's even pocketable. Check this out. See what I mean? It's not teeny tiny, but it's not huge. It's doable in the pocket. You can carry it around and take it out easily. Okay, so yeah, it definitely passes the pocket test. Shut up. The controls are pretty great, not much to report on. Everything is perfect really. The sticks and triggers are Hall sticks and triggers, and they have amazing input quality. The buttons in the D-pad are membrane and they feel great. No issues with the D-pad, perfect diagonal inputs, good for Contra or fighting games or whatever else you want to play. The controls are also nice and quiet, including the bumpers. This is among the quietest handhelds that I've used. The quiet controls with a screen that gets super dim means that this will be a great handheld to play in bed, if you don't want to wake whoever you're sharing your bed with.
Hey TechDweeb, want to play some retro games?
Shh! You'll wake up my girlfriend yelling like that.
You don't have a girlfriend, TechDweeb.
I know, but we need to practice for what I do.
Well, maybe you should start by not picking your nose so much.
I have a medical condition.
Boogers?
Yes! Shh! Speaking of the screen, this is a brand new screen that we haven't seen in a handheld before. Ayaneo even calls it the world's first 4x3 retro display, which isn't true. Obviously, plenty of handhelds use 4x3. What they mean is that it's the first 4.2-inch 4x3 screen, which is kind of a silly world's first, but they're obviously proud of it, so whatever. The important part is that it's a really good screen. 4.2 inches is big without making the device bulky, crisp 1280 by 960 resolution, so we get lots of options for scaling and shaders, and solid brightness at 500 nits, which is bright enough to use outdoors, just maybe not in direct sunlight. My only gripe with the screen is the response time. There's some LCD ghosting, which is noticeable in motion in some games. Like our Kistis ring here on Nintendo, you can see how the path texture kind of gets darker when you move, and how the grass dots turn into smudgy lines. Lots of screens do have this problem, but it's a little bit worse here, so I wanted to mention it. Still, the size and the resolution and the colors more than make up for it. Honestly, the screen is one of the standout features, and I would love to see this panel show up in more handhelds. The sound is a bit of a letdown. The downward firing speakers don't help, and the audio profile isn't good. It's a bit muffled and boxy sounding.
The Power Stone heroes are caught and transported to the floating castle. What will happen to our heroes? Welcome to the Power Stone world.
There are EQ settings in the software that you can tweak to make it sound way better, but most people won't bother. Ayaneo really should have just done a better job tuning these by default, but at least you can fix them. So for anyone curious, here are the EQ settings that I used.
Yeah, you should listen to TechDweeb. He knows what's up.
Dude, move your face. They can't see the thing.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah, there they are. That's what I did. This thing runs Android 11, which was kind of a blast from the past, seeing the old drop-down menus and the settings screens again. It's fine though. Every emulator and app that I wanted to use worked without issue. Since it's an Ayaneo device, you also get their front-end launcher, which I don't personally use, but it's there. Plus the Ayaneo quick settings for controller options, fan speed, and changing the performance modes. And then there's the Ayaneo settings app with all the usual controller and performance settings options that you get on other Ayaneo devices. Although here you don't get device spoofing or external display settings since this handheld doesn't support video out. For my setup, I installed ESDE as my main launcher, RetroArch for the older systems, Dolphin for GameCube, NetherSX2 for PS2, PPSSPP for PSP, and I also tried Eden for Switch and Azahar for 3DS, but this device isn't great for either of those. Which brings me to the performance. My Ayaneo Air Mini is the 2 gigabytes of RAM model, so I'm not sure if I had 3 gigabytes I'd be able to get more working. Let's just get the bad news out of the way. 3DS and Switch isn't great. 3DS is frustrating because some stuff does run, but it crashes all the time. And some stuff runs, but not well. And Switch just doesn't run at all. Every single game crashed out on me, even the easy indie stuff. I mean, I don't think you should expect to play 3DS and Switch on a $70 handheld, so this isn't a big surprise, I guess.
No Switch, huh?
Nope.
Great. There goes the clickbait thumbnail.
Don't worry, I'll still put fire emojis on it. Now for the good news. You can play quite a bit of GameCube and PS2. With expectations in check, a lot of GameCube titles run fine and a good chunk of the easier to run PS2 library as well. And with some tinkering like dropping resolution or adjusting underclocking settings, you can squeeze out even more, but don't expect to play everything. But still, I think having any GameCube and PS2 running on a $70 handheld is pretty wild. PSP, on the other hand, is basically perfect. I ran the God of War games at 2x native resolution on the balance profile with full speed and no frame skip. I did see a couple of crashes, but I suspect that's because I got the 2 gigabytes of RAM model. If you want smoother performance with PSP and PS2 and GameCube, I would recommend the 3 gigabyte version. For older systems though, like N64, Dreamcast, PS1, all the older stuff, this handheld is fantastic. Everything that I tested ran perfectly, even on the balance mode, and with the great controls, comfy form factor, and that sharp screen, it's kind of the ideal budget retro handheld. You can upscale 3D games, throw on shaders. Oh, speaking of shaders, the high-end ones like CRT Matthias are too demanding, but lighter ones like CRT Fruit Bun look nearly as good and they run fine. They don't have the same performance hit. Honestly, this older stuff is what the Pocket Air Mini feels like it was built for. Ayaneo advertises PS2 and GameCube, and it can sorta do those, but its real strength is in the classic retro stuff. I think one of the main things that makes this interesting is that it is priced like a Linux handheld, but it's Android. And the best part of Android handhelds is just how easy they are to use in your lifestyle. Like the power efficiency and the convenience. You can pause a game, put the device to sleep, and it barely touches the battery. Hours or even days later, you can hit the power button and you're instantly back in your game.
Surprise!
Ah!
Did I scare you?
Nope. Didn't scare me at all.
Oh, okay. Well, what about this?
Ah! Battery life on this thing is interesting because the performance mode toggle doesn't change much. Balanced, max, and even eco mode all feel pretty close, so your battery life really comes down to what you're playing. In my tests, I got about 9 hours with Super Nintendo on eco mode and just under 4 hours with GameCube on gaming mode. That's solid. That's a lot more life than a cheaper Linux handheld if you're sticking to the older systems, and it's still decent even when pushing higher end stuff that those cheaper devices can't handle. The most honest recommendation that I can give this thing is that even though I have one already, I have this black model, I'm personally going to buy the Retro Power model. Just because I want to have the top end version in my favorite colorway. I like this thing so much.
I like you too, TechDweeb.
Hold on. Is this what friendship feels like?
I don't know. I'm an inanimate object and I'm actually not talking. This is all in your imagination.
You know what? I'll take it.
Noise.
I love that this exists and that it's this good for $70. Heck, even at the $90 retail price, it feels like a great deal. It's rare to see Ayaneo, a company not known for budget hardware, put out something this affordable and this solid. Hopefully this is the first of many budget doodads from Ayaneo that deliver a great retro experience without breaking the bank. Even if deep down in my heart of hearts, I believe this should be called the Conquer Pocket Air Mini or whatever. If you're into older systems, this is kind of a no-brainer. The other close competitor for the king of budget Android handhelds is the Mangmi Air X, but that's a very different device, and it's a little bit more expensive. Having used both, I can say that the Pocket Air Mini feels higher quality in my hands. So this might be the best Android handheld right now. For now. This scene moves so fast. It's changing every other week, so yeah, it's hard to keep up, but I'm here for it. It keeps things spicy, and I like spicy things. I'm not exactly sure when the Indiegogo goes live, but I'll drop a link in the description once it's up if you want to get yourself an Ayaneo Pocket Air Mini. And that brings us to the end. I hope you don't mind this normal review without any weird gimmick or silly jokes.
I sure did.
You know what? Me too. This could be the start of a whole new thing.
Normal guys.
Yeah, me and you. Normal.
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 Normal. Normal.
Shut up.